these reports of atrocities committed by the Taliban in areas that it's taken over that are deeply troubling. An Afghanistan that does not respect the rights of its people, an Afghanistan that commits atrocities against its own people, would become a pariah state.
Regarding Afghanistan, it is essential that peace negotiations are taken seriously by all parties. The world wishes to see an independent, sovereign, democratic, and stable Afghanistan at peace with itself and with its neighbors. But its independence and sovereignty will only be ensured if it is free from malign influences. Similarly, unilateral imposition of will by any party will obviously not be democratic and can never lead to stability. Nor indeed can such efforts ever acquire legitimacy. The gains to Afghan civil society, especially on the rights of women, minorities, and on social freedoms, over the last 2 decades are self-evident. We must collectively work to preserve them. Afghanistan must neither be home to terrorism nor a source of refugees.
There is no military solution to the conflict that afflicts Afghanistan. There has to be a peaceful resolution, which requires the Taliban and the Afghan government to come to the table. And we both agree, I think strongly, that any future government in Afghanistan has to be inclusive and fully representative of the Afghan people. But ultimately, this has to be an Afghan-led and Afghan-owned peace process that we will all support. An Afghanistan that does not respect the rights of its people, an Afghanistan that commits atrocities against its own people, would become a pariah state. The Taliban says that it seeks international recognition, that it wants international support for Afghanistan. Presumably it wants its leaders to be able to travel freely in the world, sanctions lifted, etc. Well, the taking over the country by force and abusing the rights of its people is not the path to achieve those objectives. Yes, certainly what we're seeing on the ground in the last week is the Taliban making advances on district centers, challenging some provincial capitals. We've also seen these reports of atrocities committed by the Taliban in areas that it's taken over that are deeply troubling, and certainly do not speak well to the Taliban's intentions for the country as a whole.
We don't think outcomes should be decided by force on the battlefield. We think the peace negotiations should be a negotiation and should lead to peace. It should see cessation of violence. There should be a political settlement. So that is where we are looking at. And I think there is a broad consensus, deep consensus. Most of the neighbors of Afghanistan agree with that. Now, I grant you, not everybody who agrees does what they say they would do. I noted the exception which you have pointed out to. But I think that is a reality which is not new. That is a reality over the last 20 years.